Caught my boss cheating with his wife's best friend. Our company was celebrating securing another 5-year contract. With a massive client, we do these office parties quite often with every big-ish achievement. It's our boss's way of appreciating our work. Bonuses are awarded to boost morale as the workload can get intense. Anyway, the party was well underway in our boss's house. Everyone was drunk, indulging in good food and generally having a good time. Needing the bathroom. I excused myself and headed for the basement bathroom. Everyone always forgets it's there, so I knew it would be empty. I blame it on the alcohol or perhaps the loud music just above, but I didn't hear anything to give me warning of the horror of what I would witness until I stumbled into the unlocked bathroom and saw my boss's wife's best friend, also an employee of his, riding my boss as he sat on top of the toilet. I rushed out immediately after. I didn't even hesitate. I headed straight for the front door, walked for what felt like forever, then called myself an Uber home. This all happened last night, and I've just woken up with a killer hangover, bracing for the impact for the awkward encounter I'll have with my boss on Monday, lol. Here are some funny comments. Congrats on the promotion. Guess who's about to get a raise? The boss sure had a raise. Congrats on the raise and promotion, and tell the wife after that. Part 2. As many of you have suggested, I wrote a more detailed version of events within my email. I also scheduled a meeting with HR to get ahead of the issue. I had the meeting scheduled on Monday about an hour before people usually start coming in. We decided to keep the recording of the meeting informal and keep all the notes in my file simply because it wouldn't lead to an official investigation. The mistress and my boss are into different departments. My boss isn't technically her direct boss, which means the dating rules between them are in a gray area. I don't really care about that anyway, as I was worried about my job security. After HR, the day began as usual. We attended a morning meeting. During said meeting, I noticed how often my boss would avoid eye contact with me, and every time I did look his way, which was often as he speaks the most, he always made it a point to look away from my side of the conference room. Fast forward to around lunchtime. A group of us had ordered in and would work through our lunch together. We do this work through lunch thing a couple of times a week. It's a time for us to bounce ideas off one another, check our progress on various projects, help out where it's needed, etc. It's usually reserved for employees with no senior members. Although that's not a rule, it's just what we've always done. So it was strange for our boss to be there. Still, I carried on like nothing was wrong. Towards the end of the lunch, we had gotten to the topic of the party. Someone had asked me of my whereabouts at the end of the night, and at this point I knew the safest option would be to pretend to be too drunk. I even gave my boss a few compliments on the food they had prepared. Everyone around me bought the story with no issues, and I could only hope that my boss did too. Now on for Tuesday, when things returned back to normal between my boss and I. In the morning, I assumed he had believed my story from yesterday. Only now I see he was merely playing a part. His mistress cornered me into the ladies' toilets. Before this incident, this woman used to be sweet, caring, and a bit of people pleaser. Think of Charles Boyle from B99. Without the office draw bread fermentation. Now she was a vicious version of herself who was completely unrecognizable. She told me she didn't buy my story, which told me she and my boss had already discussed me. She told me I shouldn't even think of telling the wife because she wouldn't believe some employee over her husband and best friend. True, she threw in a few insults in between it all, then finished it by threatening the ending of my career by mentioning how she has my boss wrapped around her finger. She told me time and time again to keep quiet, otherwise things would get messy. Now this is the part that fills me with immense joy. To the Reddit user who sent me links to Amazon for spy recording gadgets. You, my friend, deserve the world. I had bought a pen ready just in case my boss didn't believe my story on Monday. Like many of you suggested, I should be recording all conversations when he didn't pull me aside for a conversation. The small pen was forgotten on the inside top pocket of my shirt. The pen has no voice command and basically just records until you hit stop. And since I hit start the second I walked into the office, it recorded my entire day. So now I'm sitting here on a gold mine. as the mistress just confessed to her crimes then threatened me if I didn't comply. I'm currently brushing up my CV, as my amazing boyfriend sifts through the recording to piece everything together. There probably won't be another update for a while. Not until my plan comes together. So until then, Reddit. Part 3. 2 weeks after first post. Update 2. Alright Reddit, I know it's been a while, but the update is worth giving and I'm hoping after this one there'll be only one left. Since the mistress cornered me, I had every intention of not only exposing the affair to the wife, but the entire office too. I know it's petty and crappy, but she was a bitch. I just needed a little time. So I needed time for one of 2 reasons. 1. My company dishes out a massive bonus after 10 years of service. I have been with them since I graduated university and I knew the 10-year mark was coming in just a few weeks' time. I would have been a fool to pass up that money and now it's safely in my bank account. 2. I needed to line up another job, which I did at the company my boyfriend works in. He vouched for me, which helped in securing a place and fast-tracking the application process. Now with the first part of my plan executed came the second part. A while ago, my boyfriend and I had booked holidays, starting from last week and ending in 2 weeks' time. By sheer luck, these holidays couldn't have come at a more perfect time. During the first week, besides seeing SZA and Beyonce perform, highlight of the month so far by the way, I received and accepted an offer at my new place of employment and handed in my resignation at my current place of employment, which means I will now be working my notice period at a 5-star all-inclusive resort in Mexico. Don't worry, I've reread my contract 100 times. They only require you to work a notice of 2 weeks, but sometimes ask if you can stay until they find cover. My old workplace offers and encourages ex-employees to complete an exit interview. I was more than happy to comply to this. After the basic questions of what's it like to work there, were you pleased with the salary and benefits, blah blah blah, you get the gist, came the question I was most excited for: what are your reasons of leaving company name here? Let me tell you, I answered that question with great detail. From the office party to where the first incident took place, to the threat I received when I was cornered in the ladies' toilets. I even went on to explain that I had evidence supporting my claims. I was clear in that the only reason I was leaving was the fear of my job security, that I would miss my team dearly, which I would, and that I hoped this wouldn't happen to another employee. Now part 3. After a simple Google search, I found my old boss's wife's work email address. It's a little alarming how easy it is to find people's info online these days. In great detail, I once again explained my version of events, including a little audio file just in case she didn't believe me. I explained to her that she was free to do as she pleases with the information, as I no longer worked at the company. I've even reached out offering my support along with an amazing family lawyer who happens to be my boyfriend's sister's-in-law. That woman is a beast in the courtroom. Once I found out you could watch random court procedures, it became a hobby for my boyfriend and I to watch in the back of the courtroom, truly relishing in the drama. Sorry for the detour. I also mentioned to the wife my intentions to expose her husband to the office. I feel a little guilty having to embarrass her like this. If they were so careless about their affair, it leads me to believe others may know and have kept it quiet due to fear. I've been fortunate enough to find other employment much faster than I had originally predicted, but I know my experience isn't the same for many. And I wouldn't allow the mistress to install fear into anyone in my old team. They're all amazing people with families to support. After I sent that email, I sent out a message to my old work group chat, again explaining the true reason I left along with the voice recording. I encouraged others to go to HR if they have experienced a similar situation and to not live in fear. I could only hope they listen to this. This was all done at an hour ago, a time where everyone back home would be asleep by morning. I'm sure everyone, including the HR team, would have seen everything. I'm nervous, a little excited, but overall sad. Sad for the wife. She's losing 2 of the most important people in her life. Sad for myself, I truly loved my job along with the people too. They were all so welcoming when I started. Sad for the person I once thought my boss was. He was such an inspiring guy. Gave me more responsibility than I thought I could handle, but he had so much faith in me. He's done a really crappy thing to someone he claims he loves. I mean, of all people he could have chosen, why the best friend? Why is it always the best friend? Anyway, that's the update for now. I'm sure once the messages pour in, once everyone is awake, I'll have another update ready. I promise to have it out as quick as I can, as I want to sit and enjoy these cocktails without the constant messages to updates. Just kidding. Until next time, Reddit. Edit. This update was made last night, meaning the responses of the last update are in and should be coming soon. I'll try and to do it before I go to sleep, depending on how many cocktails I have today. Part 4. Update 3. This will likely be my last update. I'm going to try and include as much details as I can without drowning on, although it would simply be easier to do it with screenshots. Let's start with HR. I found out from my colleagues that they hadn't reviewed the exit video I made yet. To be honest, I didn't think it would be their top priority. It wasn't until the rumor mill of the whole situation reached them. After they did, I received an email today from the head of HR. As expected, she was shocked to find out the real reason I left, as I assured her a few times after our first meeting that things were fine. She relayed her concerns along with well wishes at first, but of course she had to do her job, and through ambiguous language it was clear she was as trying to gauge what evidence I had and how badly it implicated the mistress along with the company too. I simply replied back that any discussions we needed to have would be when I'm back in the UK and with a lawyer present. She has yet to respond with a time and date. So let's start with the group chat. Keep in mind it doesn't include all the people I work with, obviously. Just the ones in my department and the ones I make plans with outside of work. As expected, the group chat has been lit up since the whole ordeal, and the jokes are still coming in as I type this. Most people were shocked, and few have said they've always suspected the two, but they chalked it up with reading too much Wattpad types of books. Needless to say, they are reeling in the drama. They also informed me that my boss, despite booking a holiday himself for the week, had been called into meetings with HR and a few higher-ups. I doubt I would hear more from this, not unless someone had insider knowledge. What surprised me was that I received an email in my personal inbox from one of my colleagues, someone who's not in my department and someone I don't have regular contact with. I won't go into too much detail, but basically y'all were right. I wasn't the only one who's caught them mid-action. Only they didn't see my colleague, and at the time he was with his now GF, another company employee, so they just kept their mouths shut. As for the wife, I honestly expected harsh retaliation. In fact, I had drafted a skeleton email to respond to it, if need be. She completely surprised me. She was extremely apologetic for the whole situation. She knew how much I looked up to my boss and expressed how deeply sorry she was on behalf of her husband and best friend. She revealed to me that she and her husband were in the midst of separating. Although she didn't reveal the reason behind the separation, I'm sure we can all assume. Apparently, he was to use his week off to move his stuff out from their house and into an apartment. And now with this new evidence, she's decided not to delay any further, and she will be divorcing him. She joked in appreciation for using my BF sister-in-law as a lawyer, but of course she already has one. We ended the emails with a late felt goodbyes and good lucks to our new futures. Keep in mind everything she tells me. I have to believe at face value. I don't really know this woman, and talking through emails or messages, you can never really gauge how genuine people are. But at this point, I choose to believe her, as she hasn't given me a reason not to. I'm sure you guys are a little disappointed about the anticlimactic responses, but honestly, I'm so over the drama. I'm glad things are seemingly slowing down. Now I can relax, drink myself stupid with my BF. And if you have any activity recommendations for Cancun, let me know. We're up to trying anything. Thanks for watching.